St. John's Lutheran Church in Adrian has been pointing people to Jesus since
the Civil War. We've been through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the Roaring 20s, the Soaring 50s, the Boring 70s.
the horse and buggy, the horseless carriage, Carrie Underwood.
Carry-on luggage, coronavirus, and carry-out restaurants.
Jesus is still around, and so is St. John's Lutheran Church.
Different times, same Jesus.
Look for us on Facebook at St. John's Adrian.
Or at 3448 North Adrian Highway, across from Monahan's.
Paid for by Video Productions of Lenawee.
Jesus, worthy is the Lamb that was slain for us. The Son of God and man, you are high and lifted up, and all the world will praise Jesus.
Good evening and welcome to Lenawee County Right to Life 35th Annual Oratory Contest. I'm glad you could all be here with us tonight, and we'd like to start this evening in prayer. So if we could bow our heads. Holy Father, we're just so thankful to be here together, Lord, doing your work. We're just so excited to hear what our young people have to say about a topic that we know you are so passionate about, Holy Father, the topic of life. So, Father, we just ask for your blessing on this event tonight. Father, we pray that you calm the nerves and ease the feelings of our contestants. And, Father, we just pray for wisdom for our judges as they have to pick a winner. I know that'll be tough, Lord, but we just want to give thanks for being here tonight, Lord, and choosing that oratory winner. In Jesus' holy name, amen.
Thank you, Julie. Julie Moore is the president of the Lenawee County Right to Life organization, and we appreciate working with her. So Chris Yider and myself, Jamie Anderson, are the co-chairs of the oratory contest, and we have been for a number of years. I guess we kind of have it figured out. So if anybody here or watching would like to be part of the contest, administration, we would love to have you. Because Chris and I won't be around forever. I got involved because my oldest son in 2009 won the county, no, he competed and then won the county contest, won the state contest, and went to the national contest. So that's how I got involved. And so, moms, you might, consider that. And Chris has gotten involved because she just has such a passion for students and life. And so if you have a passion for students and life, I would encourage you to prayerfully consider if you'd like to be involved in the oratory contest. And Chris and I will walk you along. All the different things that we have learned over the years that we have done it. So our contest is part of the Michigan Right to Life Oratory Contest, and this is the 35th year. There's 28 county contests that are being held right now this spring across the state, and then all of those county winners will compete in Lansing, East Lansing this year on May 25th. As I recall, this is the first time we're going to be in East Lansing for the state contest. So if you win at the county level, you'll be going to East Lansing on May 25th. The contestants, all of these contests are open to all pro-life high school students in Michigan. So how does it work? So I'm sorry, I should have been telling you when to advance the slide. So yeah, the first place county winners all go to the state contest. So how does it work? There are 4 different topics that these students knew about and chose from, including abortion, infanticide, euthanasia, embryonic stem cell research. Those are the different topics that are given to us from the National Right to Life organization for the contestants. And so they research, they write, and then they present this original pro-life speech on one of those topics. The speeches must be between 5 and 7 minutes, so we do have a timer who's going to let them know when they have 1 minute left and then 30 seconds left. The judges who are sitting at the table in the front will score the speakers on a 10-point scale in 5 categories. And the 5 categories are their thesis or the structure, the content, the material, and then understanding, basically their coverage of the pro-life topic that they selected, their presentation as they are up here before you, and then just the judge's overall opinion. So those are the 5 categories that each of the 3 judges will be looking at. After all of the contestants are finished, the judges will leave the room and they will decide amongst themselves how to place the winners, okay? So you'll see them disappear after the presentations. So why compete in the Right to Life Oratory Contest? I just want to laud you 4 young ladies for doing this. You know the benefits. For those watching or for those of you that are listening, encourage students next year and the years beyond because you receive the ability to conquer some butterflies and stand up in front of an audience. You build your confidence in public speaking. You gain experience in critical thinking as you look at these pro-life topics and construct persuasive arguments. But most importantly, students learn how to engage others in constructive discussion about life and death issues. One of our judges was standing up here where you 4 are going to stand 2 years ago. And she spoke about a topic that was out there. If you were here, you might remember Jamie Stiver spoke about chemical abortion. And I don't know if you followed it, but that's how most of the abortions, more than 50%, were performed in 2023. She gave that speech in 2022. And so she researched that, and now she's in college. And she can debunk some of the myths that she hears said about this because she has that knowledge. And so what a wonderful gift, parents, that you supported your students here in coming. And so I'd encourage all of you to encourage more students next year because we'll be back doing this again. So that's the benefits of participating in the Right to Life Oratory Contest. So as I said, we have judges that are sitting up here in the front. Next slide. Nope. Our contestant, I'll just say the names, and then Mrs. Yider is going to introduce them. So we have Zamira Reyna, Zarua Reyna, Olivia Spielman, and Samantha Shane. These 4 young ladies will be delivering their speeches. So they will be judged. I think my next slide is the judges. Let's see, advance the slide. Yes. Okay, so our judges are Jamie Stiver, John Marsh, and Mark Lenz. And I want to just introduce you to the judges now. So Jamie Stiver is currently a student she's a student athlete at the University of Olivet, a private Christian university in Olivet, Michigan. She's studying business administration and management and plans to graduate in 2 years with both a bachelor's and a master's degree, degrees, plural. Jamie has interned at Wacker Chemical Corporation here in Lenawee County, as well as interning on campus as a student ambassador for Hawks Learning's courseware and software, I think I said that right, Jamie, including helping their marketing team. She served as a judge for Olivet's Honor Scholarship Essay competition after winning the prestigious Global Citizens Honor Program scholarship herself. After 1 year at Olivet, she was asked to come back as an alumnus guest speaker at her alma mater, Britton Deerfield Schools, speaking on the importance of written communication and cultivating ambition. So I think that's just a wonderful accolade for you, Jamie. She's a member of St. John's Lutheran Church and participated in the Oratory contest 2 years ago and placed first in the county and second at the state contest. She attended last year to just support the Oratory contest as an audience member and to tell the students what it's like at the state level. And so if, ladies, you have any questions about the state level, Jamie can help you understand that. So we're honored, and she's honored, to be back as a judge. We also have John Marsh with us. He is a resident and has been a resident of Tecumseh since 2001. But he was born in Lenawee County and has been visiting his extended family at Sand Lake since he can remember. He's a civil engineer by profession, and he and his wife have supported the pro-life cause by giving birth and raising 5 children. He's been involved as a leader in the scouting organization in Tecumseh for a number of years, serving as their Cub Master for PAC 607 for 12 years, when all 3 of his boys went through as Cub Scouts, and including 2 of my sons as well. John was involved in their trek through the scouting career. And he is highly likely to sing you a camp song or tell you a bad dad joke. So consider yourself forewarned afterwards. So John is a lifelong Catholic and an active member of St. Elizabeth's in Tecumseh and is a supporter of life. And Mark Lenz is our third judge. He is a senior communications specialist for Gleaner Life Insurance Society, a Christian-based fraternal group with headquarters here in Adrian, Michigan. Prior to that, he worked full-time as a newsroom person at several newspapers, and he did that for 37 years, including 13 as the editor-in-chief at the Adrian Daily Telegram. Mark was born and raised in California, spent 21 years in Nevada, but has called Michigan home for about 2 decades. He and his wife Jill have 4 grown children. Mark and Jill support the Care Pregnancy Center of Lenawee and volunteer with Share the Warmth, a homeless shelter here in Adrian. Mark's an active member of St. John's Lutheran Church and is honored to be judging the Right to Life Oratory contest again this year for the 4th year, I believe. So that's our judges for tonight. And so now we're going to actually get into the contest. So our next slide, please. Yeah, so Chrissy Eider is going to tell you a little bit more about the prizes and introduce the students. Well, the prizes are $200, $100, and $50. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, if you want to come on up, Chris, that would be fine. So.
Actually, I was going to give you the specifics on each one as they come up so that you remember, but so that you know who God brought to us, because Jamie and I are always going, okay, we try to get the word out, but not a lot of kids are courageous enough to respond, and so we thank you for that you did and all the parental support that has gone with them. So let me introduce to you, not that I'm trying to play favorites, but I want to tell you about the blessing that we have to have twins. Would you just stand so that everybody can just see who you are? They're separated, that's why I wanted to put them together here just for a second. Okay, that's good enough. I just wanted you to see who we're talking about. Because they were blessed tonight to have them, and I'm sure that their birth, where's their mother, was a very joyous experience, and we're talking about birth and life. So she had a double blessing, I'm sure. But I didn't know this. They are originally from San Marcos, Texas, and if you watch the news, especially the life news, Texas is a very strong pro-life state. Don't you wish some of us had that here? But anyhow, and I know that they care a lot about the life movement because I volunteer at the CPC, and January I saw them back in the room, spending their J term, sorting all of the donations that come in. So I just wanted to point out who they are. And then Samantha Shane and Olivia are returning. Just quickly stand, would you, Sam? She's a student at Lenawee Christian, and I'll tell you more about her in a little bit. She's returning, and then Olivia was with us last year and even won first place, Olivia Spielman, and she is from Addison, correct? Okay, all these. So I always get excited when we have public school kids too join us. So let's see. I think we're going to go. We did the number draw and all that. We'll go right into number 1, correct? Jamie's the big. Okay, and you can tell that Jamie is a pro at communication, and she doesn't get nervous like the rest of us can. And her son followed in her footsteps. So, right? Yeah. Okay, so Samantha Shane drew number 1. So she gets the most nervous job. But she, as I said, she goes to Lenawee Christian, where she carries a very heavy academic load. She enjoys sports, runs track, cross country. I think you still do all those, right? Plays volleyball and basketball. So she's active all year long. But her favorite sport is soccer. And I know she has some early in the mornings. When she's not participating in sports, Samantha enjoys her 4-H club, works with her lambs, and likes to work with her dad on the farm. The fair is always a big part of their summer, having animals and those lambs. As I said, she participated last year as a freshman. This year she's a sophomore. And we're glad that she is joining us to repeat the experience. She has changed her topic, right? You didn't do this last year. Did you do abortion last year? But this year, she chose euthanasia, which is not quite as common, and so we need to learn a little bit more about that. So let's welcome Sam, and you're going to go over there, right? Samantha.
Ladies and gentlemen, life's gentle moments remind us of how precious it is. Whether it's the happy arrival of a new baby or the tears that fall as we say goodbye to someone we love. These are times that force us to really think about what is important. Today, we are at a crossroad, facing a decision that will shape our society profoundly. The debate over assisted suicide and euthanasia is not merely an abstract discussion. It is a matter of life, dignity, and truth. It has real implications and is about real people, your grandmother, your brother, and your best friend. This is an emotional topic that needs to be approached with empathy and an unwavering commitment to life's sanctity and the truth. It is a moment of deliberation that will define our humanity. I urge you to consider these 3 compelling arguments against legalizing these practices. There are many arguments I could choose to convince you of the dangers of legalizing euthanasia. However, I've chosen 3 that are persuasive and shocking in their implications. First, legalizing assisted suicide and euthanasia fundamentally undermines the sanctity of life. By supporting the rapid advancement of death, we send a chilling message to society. This message says that some lives are expendable, that suffering is too much to bear, and that death is better than facing life's challenges. The devaluing of human life is not only morally reprehensible, but also deeply unsettling, as it opens the door to a future where the vulnerable are deemed unworthy of protection and compassion. This contradicts the basic belief that all human life is inherently valuable and thus deserves respect and protection. Legalizing euthanasia and assisted suicide blurs the lines between life and death, eroding the moral fabric of society and diminishing the intrinsic worth of every individual. Accepting death as a solution to pain and suffering makes human life less important and casts aside people's dignity. Second, we must recognize that if assisted suicide and euthanasia is legalized, it will take society down a path that we cannot recover from. Throughout history, we have seen that once these practices are allowed, it is difficult to stop them from spreading. What proponents argue is a humane solution for the terminally ill soon expands to include other vulnerable populations, the elderly, the disabled, the mentally ill, and even our children. One horrific example, seen a mere 80 years ago, was the Nazi regime's T4 euthanasia program during World War II. Under this program, individuals with disabilities, mental illnesses, or those deemed unfit for society were exterminated in gas chambers. A so-called compassionate plan that was meant to alleviate suffering was twisted into a grotesque tool for genocide, leading to the mass murder of millions. The T4 euthanasia program stands as a chilling reminder of the dangers of devaluing human life and granting unchecked power to decide who lives and who dies. Legalizing assisted suicide and euthanasia will destroy humanity. Before we know it, we will find ourselves in a world where the right to die becomes a duty to die, where individuals are pressured, coerced, or even forced to end their lives against their will. Third, we need to acknowledge that legalizing assisted suicide goes against our promise to protect the most vulnerable people in society. Despite assurances of safeguards and regulations, the truth is that legalizing euthanasia harms those who are already struggling the most. Again, history has shown us that the vulnerable individuals, such as the elderly, disabled, and mentally ill, have often withstood the worst of such policies. They have faced coercion, exploitation, and outright abuse. In societies where euthanasia is legalized or tolerated, these vulnerable groups are at heightened risk of being pressured into ending their lives prematurely, either due to societal stigma, financial burdens, or perceived lack of quality of life. Instead of getting the care and support that they need, they are more likely to be pushed aside and ignored. They are now deemed expendable and unworthy of protection. Legalizing euthanasia does not just exacerbate inequalities, but also perpetrates systemic injustices, robbing marginalized populations of their inherent dignity and right to life. The data agrees with this conclusion. For instance, a study published by the British Medical Journal shows us that in the Netherlands, where euthanasia was legalized in 2002, individuals with disabilities are grossly overrepresented, among those opting for assisted death. And another study, published in the JAMA Psychiatry, found that in Belgium, another country where euthanasia is legal, approximately 20% of all assisted deaths in the country have involved individuals with psychiatric conditions. And this number continues to rise every day. Legalizing assisted suicide and euthanasia sends a bad message. Instead of focusing on diligent care, pain relief, and mental health support, it suggests that death is an answer to suffering. And it goes even further. It is not only a viable answer, but it is a preferred one. That is just not right. So, what are we to do? How do we stand up against this injustice? We must act today. We are at a defining moment in our society's development. We cannot allow the legalization of assisted suicide and euthanasia. We must stand up to policies that undermine the sanctity of life and open the door to harming the most vulnerable members of our society. As we think about the path forward, let's remember the words of Gandhi. The true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its more vulnerable members. We do not want to be remembered as the society that treated God's precious gift of life with such disdain and disregard. It is essential that you, I stand firm in the defense of life, dignity, and compassion, even in the face of the most daunting challenges. Thank you.
So I'd like to just take a minute to bring you a legislative update. And I'd like to start by bringing you some words from our current state Right to Life president, Amber Roseboom, as taken from the state Right to Life website. and it was reported on March 1st in response to Women's History Month. As a result of Proposal 3 passing in November of 2022, a woman in Michigan can make a choice for abortion for any reason at any point in her pregnancy. There is nothing that can be done in our legislature to change that reality. The fantasy that congressional Republicans are passing a national abortion ban is really a gestational limit on a window of time in which a woman can have an abortion. This national ban is an election year fantasy dreamed up by Democrats desperate to turn out their voter base. At stake now are common sense protections for women, parents, and children, including the unborn, protections that are supported by the large majority of Michigan voters. Abortion-only Democrats have announced their intention to remove parental consent for a minor seeking an abortion and strip a woman's right to know about the risks associated with abortion by removing informed consent. These threats are on the heels of Governor Whitmer and the state Democrats removing standard health and safety regulations for abortion clinics last fall, putting women at even greater risk for harm. And as you know, Governor Whitmer and state Democrats even legalized partial birth abortion. This means we must work to elect and support pro-life candidates in the days and months ahead, candidates who will defeat these important protections for Michiganders of all ages. So this again from our Right to Life president, Amber Roseboom. We currently have Congressional Representative Tim Walberg, known as the most conservative representative fighting for life in Washington, D.C. He is up for re-election this year. Here in Lenawee County, our Senator Joe Bellino is working on State Bill 112 to protect care pregnancy centers from having to refer for abortions. There are several more bills in progress to try to stop or block further anti-women and anti-children initiatives and win back the life-affirming legislation. However, at this time, the legislature is actually even with Republicans and Democrats, so they're really moving no further at this time in that legislation. So this being an election year, we have the opportunity to seek out life-promoting candidates for U.S. Senate, re-election of Tim Walberg, both national and state endorsed by Right to Life, Michigan Supreme Court, and locally for state representative. Our local affiliate will be interviewing and endorsing pro-life candidates. So please do get in touch with me if you would be interested in learning more. Right to Life of Michigan's mission is passing legislation that fosters respect and protection for human life from fertilization until natural death. And our mantra is life, the other choice, period. Thank you.
Zariah Reyna is our next presenter, and she is a senior at Lenawee Christian. She likes to study history and reads a lot, or likes to read. You can often find her riding her bike or baking. What's your favorite thing to bake? Cookies? Carrot cake, okay. With her extra time, she devotes herself to helping at youth group and cheerleading. After graduation, Zariah plans to attend James River College in Springfield, Missouri. And then after getting her associate's degree there, she hopes to transfer to Evangel University. She's going to talk to us on abortion.
A 7-month pregnant, 17-year-old mother delivered a perfectly healthy baby boy through induction. Immediately, the baby's spine was snipped, and the baby was dumped into a shoebox. The doctor joked that the baby was so big that he could walk me to the bus stop. This story and many others like it show a callous disregard for life. Should any state regard such a barbaric act as legal? The answer is unequivocally no. The dangerous repercussions of an abortion risk a perilous outcome for women. The scientific evidence defies the description of a newly formed life as a lump of cells. The intrinsic value of a human life affirms the preborn's inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. In this century, in this country, and across the world, ending a baby's life has become a luxury freely offered to a mother rather than a sorrowful ending of a precious and valued life. Because of its dangerous repercussions on women, abortion should be illegal because it is a severe risk to a woman. According to the World Health Organization, around 45% of all abortions are unsafe, with 97% taking place in developing countries. In most cases, women have an abortion due to an unplanned pregnancy. Additionally, most women who get an abortion are young women who are otherwise healthy. Why are almost half of all global abortions unsafe? Often, women seek a more secretive and cost-effective alternative, which poses an unfortunate risk associated with the procedure. In most cases, the abortionist lacks the skills necessary to perform these abortions. The doctor who performed the heinous act alluded to earlier was a doctor known as America's most prolific serial killer, Kermit Gosnell, who for 4 decades performed over 40,000 clinical abortions and countless underground abortions. After retiring from his Philadelphia abortion clinic, he performed underground abortions from his home. These abortions were performed under filthy conditions and put women in danger. In 2010, the FBI raided his home and found evidence of the death of 2 women after having an abortion in his home. He stored trophies of his crimes in the refrigerator of his home, where within jars were severed baby feet, aborted fetuses, and even a murdered full-term baby. Clinics of similar structures populate the world, explicitly targeting desperate, impoverished, and ethnic minorities, who, despite the risk, have no other choice. Recently, I went on a field trip with my tech center class to the Jackson County Medical Examiner's office. At the office, we were handed papers that not only described the job of a medical examiner, but also listed the specific instances in which deaths are investigated and autopsied. 8 bullet points began with the phrase, "death by." You will never believe what I saw. I was utterly horrified when following one of the 8 bullet points read, "death by abortion." Some say the unsafe conditions of such abortions validate the reason for legalizing abortion, but much more must be considered. Consider that science proves, beyond doubt, life begins at conception. Valid biblical evidence and reasoning condemn abortion, but so does scientific evidence deny the evil killing of the preborn. Embryology textbooks affirm that human life begins with fertilization when sperm fertilizes an egg, creating a zygote. A zygote is a human being. That's a fact. The WebMD fetal development website insists that the preborn is not a blob of tissue, never was a blob of tissue, and is a human being. The overall growth of the preborn is such a beautiful thing, as the baby changes and forms within the first 8 weeks. According to the American College of Obstetrics and Gynecologists, the baby's brain and spine form, cardiac tissue develops, lungs form tubes to carry air, webbed fingers and toes poke out, and much more. If this in of itself isn't enough, consider the fact that abortions can be conducted at 22 weeks, when most babies are developmentally viable and can live perfectly healthy lives. It is also true that doctors today tend to agree that newborns, even premature ones, can feel pain. Considering that the unborn experiences pain during an abortion should further prove that life begins in the womb. A developing baby deserves to be protected and treated with dignity and with respect, a respect for the value and purpose endowed by the Creator. Consequently, the Constitution affirms such respect. As stated in the preamble of the Declaration of Independence, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that their Creator endows them with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This confirms a right that cannot be ignored or disregarded. We are given by our Creator, God, the right to live. The fact that the right to life insults not only our nation's founders, but God. The Supreme Court's decision in Roe v. Wade, 1973, has recently been deemed unconstitutional. The constitutional scholar John H. Ellie explains that there is no explicit right to abortion in the Constitution. Today, this constitutional right is twisted into what I want and feel. The pro-choice movement makes the Constitution fit a self-absorbed agenda by taking the Fourth Amendment lightly, distorting it to find a right to kill. Roe v. Wade presumed that right for women, but not for the child developing within her. So now, many years later, America, a much different place, deteriorates into moral decay, where women now need abortion not only to escape a horrible or difficult situation, but to simply live life as they wanted to. The sanctity of life erodes, obstacles to the preservation of life fall, and the pro-choice community pats itself on the back for a job well done. In conclusion, abortion must be deemed illegal in all 50 states because the scientific evidence defies the description of a newly formed life as a lump of cells. The intrinsic value of a human life affirms the preborn and inalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And the life of the unborn must be protected and treated as valuable beyond any price. Murdering a life that cannot defend itself must be met with a resounding voice of protest. It must start with your voice and mine.
Thank you. Now we'd like to go on and talk a little bit about changing our landscape. Right to Life has been fighting the battle for life since the 1970s. Our local affiliate is working to grow community support and broadening education. This supports the mission of Right to Life, which is a nonpartisan, non-sectarian, nonprofit organization of diverse and caring people that are united to protect the precious gift of human life from fertilization to natural death. They strive to achieve the passage and ratification of a human life amendment to educate people on identified right to life issues and to motivate them to action. They work to encourage community support and the participation in programs and legislation that fosters respect and protection for human life and to promote and support pro-life candidates. We know that passing legislation is not the whole solution, but only a piece of the puzzle. Our goal has to be to change the hearts and minds of community members and make abortion unthinkable. So how do we go about that? Well, let's start with prayer. Philippians 4:6 through 7 says, "Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and the peace which surpasses all understanding will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." We know that God is pro-life by his word. Genesis 1:27, his word says that God created mankind in his image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. Then one of my favorite verses, Psalm 139:13 through 16. "For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful." I would like to encourage you to keep the cause of life in your thoughts and prayers. I'm excited to share with you that there is a group called She Leads. She Leads America, She Leads Michigan, She Leads Lenawee. So it actually started in Lenawee and is now actually going across the pond. I believe they were starting in Great Britain as well. This is a movement to unite Christians in leadership positions to use their influence and talents to legislate and pray for champion human life. So I would encourage you to put that reminder in your phone to check out their website and the events that they have upcoming. The group continues to grow and hopes to bring Bible-based solutions to modern-day problems. Their founder, Liz Doyle, is here from Blissfield. She takes her lead from God and is doing mighty things, and God is doing mighty things through her. So do watch for She Leads. The next thing that we can do is forge new community relationships by holding events that will give the pro-life community members a place to network and build relationships. This would be an opportunity for you to march in parades and man event tables that would welcome community members to learn more about what Right to Life does, their missions, and their goals. This is the time that we need to come together to work together to change hearts and minds to protect human life. As I talk about changing the landscape, our final course of action is to educate. Right to Life offers materials and speakers that we hope to be delivering education to our community at local events. We will also hear tonight from Margaret Duffy in regards to our own Care, Pregnancy, and Family Center giving you information about their intentions to educate our young people and families to be the best they can be. So there are 3 ways I believe that we can work to change our landscape. First and foremost is to keep the cause of life in our daily prayer. The second is to build community connections using our time and talents for His work. And third, to educate our community by going against our cultural standards and taking a stand for our beliefs. Finally, I'd like to just remember in Esther 4:13 through 14 that Mordecai's message to Esther was, "Do not imagine that you in the king's palace can escape any more than all the Jews. For if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance will arise for the Jews from another place, and you and your father's house will perish. And who knows whether you have not attained royalty for such a time as this?" We are so blessed to live here in the United States of America, and the time has come for us to set aside our selfish interests and stand up for the rights and values and our beliefs. So I'm especially excited to be a part of this oratory today, where we see just that, our young people using their voices to further God's purpose. Thank you all for being here.
Next, we have Olivia Spielman, who I said before goes to Addison. She's now a junior back with us. And her favorite subject in school is science, rightly so when you see what she wants to do. But she's a member of her National Honor Society and president of her school's Key Club. When she's not busy with that, she plays volleyball and softball and the piano, and I'm sure that takes a lot of dedication. Olivia would like to someday be a doctor, and more specifically, a geriatrician. And so that kind of goes with what we've been looking at on the topic of euthanasia when people get to that stage. So Olivia will talk to us this year about abortion. And you can go over there, Olivia, then. Okay? Thank you.
Imagine you're 24 years old with big ambitions in your singing career. One day, you find yourself pregnant, and the father of the child leaves you high and dry. Wanting the best for you and your unborn child, you move to another city, hoping to continue your career while becoming a mother. When you move to this city, a supposed friend convinces you to speak to a Planned Parenthood worker to fully discuss all of your options. During this conversation, you are convinced that getting an abortion is the only way to further your career. So, you schedule and attend an appointment, even though you are so terrified of the procedure that the abortion providers administer anesthesia to you. You wake up from this process with a hole in your heart left by your child and no help from anyone around you. Now, imagine you're 23 years old and in an abusive marriage. You have 2 children with your husband, and when you become pregnant with the third, he decides that he doesn't want you to keep it. You are left to figure out how to handle this with no family to turn to for shelter. After a conversation with your sister and the reality from your new boyfriend that he won't be with you while you're pregnant, you turn to abortion, as you are made to believe it is the only option. Your new husband takes you to Planned Parenthood, where the abortion is performed, and for years after, you will be left to manage your emotional distress all on your own. Imagine how scared you would be if you were one of these women. You are in a terribly difficult situation, and all of your friends, family, and authority figures tell you that you have only one option: to abort your baby. The people you trust the most assure you that an abortion can fix everything, that it can undo the damage. These women were made to believe that abortion was their only choice, when it should not be a choice at all. Because women everywhere, regardless of race, age, or religion, deserve better than abortion. Women deserve better than a procedure that goes against the laws of nature. When a woman becomes pregnant, her body releases oxytocin, the hormone associated with maternal-infant attachment. When an abortion is performed,
even though the child has been removed. The oxytocin continues to run rampant through the woman's body for many weeks, causing her to often feel empty and deflated. Persuading women to get abortions doesn't change the fact that their bodies aren't made for it. So in many cases, women even develop postpartum depression from the major hormone adjustment. Women deserve better than to be told that they must choose either to keep their children or to be successful in their careers. Companies like the Greater Good magazine advocate for abortion on the grounds that it is a solution for possible career interferences that come with children. The Center for American Progress even works to have women believe that access to abortions are key to allowing women to participate in the labor force. I, however, believe that the 71% of American mothers actively participating in our workforce discredit these assertions. 24.2 million women with minor children are currently proving that it is possible to both choose life and to be a member of the workforce. Women deserve better than to be involuntary patrons of an inherently discriminatory system. Planned Parenthood, the largest abortion provider in the United States, was founded by a well-known eugenicist, Margaret Sanger. She argued that abortion is a useful tool in eliminating unfit members of society. These, in her opinion, include people of color, immigrants, those with disabilities, and those with low incomes. While Planned Parenthood attempts to claim that they have denounced Sanger's beliefs, this does not change the purpose for their creation. If I were to create an organization that sprays a new chemical on crops in order to try to ruin the food supply of a city and starve its people, but my intentions were later changed, and the chemical was to be used only on pesky weeds, would that make my organization any less evil? Would my change of reasoning suddenly make this company legitimate? We'd all say no, it doesn't. So does Planned Parenthood's change of reasoning negate the harmful foundation they were built on? The correct answer is no. Women should not have to take part in this prejudiced system for fear that their lives will be ruined if they keep their child. Women deserve better than to have the miracle that God bestowed upon them painted as a nuisance. The Lord specifically designed women to have children and to bond with them. He made them more compassionate and empathetic than their male counterparts, more capable of comforting and consoling. But instead of recognizing maternal assets, influential companies like the Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International speak about pregnancy like it's a perilous medical condition. They downplay how magnificent it is that women can grow human life inside of them. As a result, we forget that the ability to bear children and raise them up is a privilege, not a punishment. Psalm 127, verse 3 clearly says, "Certainly sons are a gift from the Lord, the fruit of the womb a reward." Children are a blessing, not a curse. Now, with so many women being made to feel that their only choice is to abort their child, there are things that we must do. We have to open our hearts to these women. Remind them that an unplanned pregnancy does not irreparably damage their standing in life, that Jesus loves them, no matter the choices they've made. We have to open our arms to these women, offer a smile and some encouragement, or if you know them well, a hug and a kind word. Refrain from shunning or gossiping about a woman for an unplanned pregnancy, because we are all sinners alike. Remember that the change our country needs is not made in a day. It's made little by little, heart by heart. And we all, as children of God, have a duty to help. Thank you.
Thank you, Olivia. So now I'd like to tell you a little bit about an event that we have coming up on April 4th at the Christian Family Center in the Marilat Room located on 223. It is our annual Right to Life banquet, and it is important in several ways. It does give us that opportunity to network and build connection with other people who have the same goals. It gives us the opportunity to be educated about our focus and mission of life from the womb to the tomb. So this year we will be featuring Alex Schadenberg, the Executive Director and an International Chair of the Euthanasia Prevention Coalition, where he advocates for the rights of the disabled and those at the end of life. He has spoken at pro-life dinners and conferences in many of the 50 states, as well as Australia, New Zealand, Ireland, Scotland, Italy, Hungary, Moldova, and Israel. His articles have been published worldwide, and he has published 2 books, including Exposing Vulnerable People to Euthanasia and Assisted Suicide, as well as 4 videos concerning end-of-life topics. His blog for the Euthanasia Prevention Coalition is also the world's most prolific source of information on euthanasia and assisted suicide. So again, our banquet is coming up on April 4th. We still have some seats open. The doors open at 6 o'clock, and the dinner and the program start at 6:30. Finally, this banquet is the perfect opportunity for us to fund this important initiative. This past year, Right to Life spent millions, actually it was 2 years ago that Right to Life spent millions in campaigns to try to block Proposal 3. It takes much more than that to get this constitutional amendment changed. Right to Life has employees to pay and for education to distribute. So we would like to invite you to attend and make connections and learn and donate to the cause of life. So again, there are still some tickets available, but time is running out. So there are tables available in the back there on the table on the way out. You're welcome to contact me, Julie Moore, at 517-902-3099 for further details. I'd also like to steer you to our website that you can find by just browsing Lenawee Right to Life. It's Lenawee County Right to Life at gmail.com is actually my email address. LenaweeRightToLife.com is our website, and then on Facebook, Lenawee Right to Life 2024. So you'll find that there. You can pay by check or as well on our website. So I'd like to encourage you all to attend our Right to Life banquet. Thank you.
Zamira has had to wait until last. That's got to be nerve-wracking, right? She also is a senior at Lenawee Christian, Zamira Reyna, a sister of Zariah. She likes to study personal finance and wellness, and she too plays the piano like Olivia. She likes to hang out with her friends, youth group, and skate. She was involved in cheerleading and track before. She currently works retail at the Center Cafe. Maybe you've gotten a coffee from her. After graduation, she plans to attend James River College to get an associate's degree of leadership. Then she hopes to transfer to Evangel University. So tonight she is going to speak on euthanasia. You can go over there,
Myra. Eric Majusayek, a talented hunter and newlywed, lived what seemed like the ideal life until he suddenly felt joint pain and was hospitalized within hours. Both paralyzed and unconscious, his survival depended on an ECMO machine to live and breathe. He was diagnosed with a disease that gave him only a 5% chance of survival. Even after months of chemotherapy, steroids, and dialysis, he found little hope of survival. Eric was presented as an ideal candidate for assisted suicide. Is ending your life or the life of someone who requested a right endowed by the Creator? The Declaration of Independence has long affirmed that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But will the government someday have the power to dispose of anyone requiring expensive drugs or extensive care? If euthanasia is defined as the act of killing someone painlessly, will a painless society be deemed a good society? Will legalizing euthanasia usher in a culture of death? A few years ago, the answer to these questions would have been founded upon a strong Judeo-Christian ethical foundation. Today, not so much. Today's culture must recapture and reaffirm the dignity and value of human life, personally and in public policy. Euthanasia, euphemistically termed the Death with Dignity Act, compels patients to make decisions based on feelings and a perception that it is their right to decide between life or death. The idea that the old and disabled are not worth saving grips and squeezes the intrinsic value of life from our culture. Some view a suffering human life in the same way they do a sick dog, simply and humanely putting them out of their misery. For example, a few years ago, a well-known designer, Elaine Fong, went on the TED Talk show to speak on death with dignity. She shared the experience of losing her mother to this designed experience of death. She describes two forms of assisted suicide, the liquid form and the pill. The liquid form takes 2 hours to 2 days until it may go into effect. The liquid is almost acidic and burns the throat while going down. The patients can also have difficulty swallowing with gag reflexes, so it is painful for family members to watch. The cost for the liquid option is $400. The pill, on the other hand, is faster and easier to swallow. The price for the pill is $4,000 and is not covered by insurance because it is an optional choice. 3 steps come with assisted suicide. First, they slow the heart rate, then an anti-nausea medication, then the final life-ending medication. Elaine Fong describes the complex procedure on a victim. The assistant, before he handed her the medication, said that by law she had to declare out loud that she intended to go to sleep and to not wake up. By law, none of us could help her hold the cup or help her drink it. She needed to do it by herself. By law, the individual must be mentally competent or able to voluntarily request and obtain the necessary prescription and self-administer the medication. Elaine's mother declared that she intended to take this pill by herself and to never wake up. Suicide is the act or an instance of taking one's own life voluntarily and intentionally. The term assisted added to suicide resembles a wolf in sheep's clothing. This act, passed with 3 bills by Senator Frank Roberts in 1994, is simply suicide and must be called what it is, death without dignity. Euthanasia, euphemistically termed the Death with Dignity Act, should be called what it is, the unlawful murder of a human being. Decisions based on feeling and a perception that it is their right to decide between their own life, and death must be countered with truth. The idea pervading the country is that the old and disabled are not worth saving. Only the strong and healthy survive the onslaught of this evil idea. Death with dignity is even highly praised by many so-called Christians. Such ideas must be countered with the truth. The true authority, as God declares in Genesis 32:39, is strong and clear. I put to death and I bring to life. I have wounded and I heal, and no one can deliver them out of my hand. God called the people of Israel to value, nurture, and to preserve life. Of the current 8 billion people that walk this earth, every single one that God created lives as the crown of creation and is declared by God as worthy of being treated as his beautiful creation. Many will argue that you cannot debate on such a heavy subject until you have encountered a family member with a terminal illness. However, do I have to be pregnant to fight abortion? Do I have to commit murder or be a politician to defend the death penalty? No. Life is a gift from God. Humanity has no right to usurp God's authority. When people deny life to a child forming in the mother's womb or to a suffering elder, they should be held accountable under the just law of God and the country. As Christians, we have a God-assigned purpose on earth, and sometimes that includes suffering. Life is our ministry. Like Jesus, we are sometimes called to suffer. We are to use our time, talents, and treasure to restore shalom in this fallen world. Rather than assisting suicide, doctors, professional caregivers, and caring family and friends should be assisting the suffering ones with compassionate support, both physically and emotionally. The physician's number one duty when he or she signs the Hippocratic Oath is to not harm. Remember Eric Majusayak. Eric was discharged in May 2012. He returned to work as a hydraulic engineer, and Eric is still alive and is known as the longest HLH survivor. He is enjoying life to the fullest. Both Eric and his wife Amanda put their best efforts forward every day. They advocate for every person and family with rare diseases to share their stories open and honestly. And in the words of Malcolm Muggeridge, this life in us, however low it flickers or fiercely it burns, is still a divine flame which no man dare presume to put out. Thank you.
that was wonderful. Am I turned on? Okay. So thank you all. That was wonderful. I'd like to just let you know that there are snacks in the back, so you have the opportunity to go ahead and grab a few snacks. Our judges are going to take just a few minutes to take a look at figure out their results. But we have Margaret Duffy here tonight as well. Okay, so Jamie, we'll let you take over.
Well, we need to let the judges continue to look at Zamira's form. So we'll just give them a few minutes before Margaret comes up, before Maggie comes up. So, but I want to reiterate what Chris has said about these 4 young ladies. Wow. Are you guys glad that you're not the judges tonight? Yeah. How brave they have been. Yeah. So, I apologize for not really telling you what we were doing. In between the contestants, we were having Julie come up to fill time so that the judges could fill out their forms. I guess I didn't make that really clear at the beginning, but hopefully you figured it out after the second one.
And I can take over and chat a little bit more. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
So we have several of our board members here tonight. So some of you might know Kate Hayes has been part of our Right to Life board for quite a long time. So welcome to Kate tonight. And as well, we have Wanda House here. Wanda does a wonderful job with our database, so we're thankful to have her here. We have Mary Spielman here, who is our treasurer, so we want to make friends with Mary. She's the one that's making out those checks, right? And former President Lisa and her husband Jeff are here tonight as well. And Joan, I haven't seen you in a little while, but welcome. Joan is also on our board, and so we're thankful to have her with us as well. Awesome. So a few things that we have coming up that I think you might be interested in. We do host, not we locally, but the State Right to Life group does host a legislation day where we have the opportunity to go to Lansing and sit and chat and have lunch with our senators and representatives, as well as listen to some great speakers. So that is coming up, and we do have the Legislation Day flyers there in the back. So if anyone is interested, students, anyone from the community, our local Right to Life affiliate is happy to sponsor and get you to that legislative day. So that's kind of a cool thing. Another change also that we've had is that instead of having the Right to Life March that we've often had on Martin Luther King Day, this year we changed that march to Lansing. So we had over 5,000 people turn out in Lansing. Several schools, actually Lenawee Christian School was present at that event as well, to show people that really there is really quite a bit of enthusiasm and promotion for life in our state. So that is available and coming up in November as our election. So how much more time are we thinking?
We're going to have Maggie come up now. So, yeah.
All right, well, thank you for letting me speak.
Yeah, we really appreciate Julie Moore as the president of the Lenawee County Right to Life. So if you are watching and you're not a member of Lenawee County Right to Life, please contact Julie, join the organization so that your voice is heard. So Lenawee Right to Life is an organization that you can participate in. Another organization in our county is the Care Pregnancy Center. And the Care Pregnancy Center is something that you can also participate in and volunteer for. And Maggie Duffy has been the chairman of the board for 6 years, and there's a lot of things happening over at the Care Pregnancy Center. And so Maggie's going to tell us about those things while the judges are back there deciding which one of you gets to go to the state contest. So Maggie, if you want to come up, and she's got some slides and some information that I think you're going to find really interesting. Maggie?
Thanks so much, Jamie. Oh, what a blessing to be here tonight. I mean, I'm just so impressed by your perspectives, your heart, your stand for life, and that when you are going to carry that with you through every stage of life, when you're in high school, when you move into college, when you are in the workplace, when you become mothers yourselves, and I just can't wait to see how the Lord continues to expand your voice for this cause that is so near and dear to all of us. So what a privilege to be here tonight and to hear your hearts and your words. Thank you. As Jamie said, my name is Maggie Duffy, and I am the chair of the CPC of Lenawee, which is also the Pregnancy and Family Resource Center. A lot of people don't know that about the CPC. They think of it as just being the Care Pregnancy Center, which is where everything started. We were founded in 1984. We actually just had a ribbon cutting and birthday celebration for our 40th year serving the county, the women, and the families here in Lenawee. And it was originally established to help women who were struggling to make that life-affirming decision to keep their babies. Women who had suffered a loss because they had made a different decision. And so since 1984, of course, this is not what our storefront looks like anymore, but we have not only focused on women and the baby, but now we have expanded to include the entire family. So we now are the CPC of Lenawee with the Family Center. So this includes the legacy of faith, of family, and of life that we continue to support here in the county. Because it's not just about saving the baby. It's about raising the child, and about raising the child in a family setting, in a family that includes a mother and a father, that includes a church home. And we have wonderful programs to connect women who come in unexpectedly expecting with a local church. Now, one of the beautiful things is we have a program called Making Life Disciples. Many people here at St. John's have partaken in that and have been trained so that when a woman walks in the door and doesn't have really feels that she has a place, especially when people find out that she's pregnant and she's not married. The people in the congregation who have been trained under Making Life Disciples, which is a short 6-week course offered free of charge down at the Care Pregnancy Center, can connect that woman with people who will love her for who she is, for who the baby is, created in the image and the likeness of God, and connect her with the resources that the CPC and Family Resource Center can provide. So what has changed since 1984? The slides do not actually coincide, so we are going to make this work. So the thing is that we have had 64 million children who have not been born. Now, just to imagine, that is the entire population in 2020 of Michigan, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Missouri, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, South Dakota, and Wisconsin. That's a lot of people. That's over 6 times every current man, woman, and child in the state of Michigan. And not only has abortion been found to increase the risk of breast cancer, depression, anxiety, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, suicidal thoughts and behavior, and preterm birth and future pregnancies, but now also the identified medical diagnosis of post-abortion stress syndrome, which one of you alluded to, as far as the chemical reaction a woman's body has when they are stripped of their child. So this, of course, increases single-parent households Marriage rates have decreased over 50%. There is a delinking between marriage, sex, and the family. 86% of abortions occur when a woman is single, and 40% of women have an affiliation with a church when they have an abortion. So think of that. The people you go to, your congregation that you sit with on Sunday morning, most likely 4 out of every 10 women there have had an abortion. And once abortions were once utilized under the guise of a crisis pregnancy, are now simply used as birth control and labeled reproductive health. Of course, since Roe versus Wade opinion in 1973, 64 million abortions have occurred. And this also leaves women and men wounded from that procedure. They don't even think about what the cost is going to be. Let's see if this will do the next. Are we going to go there? Next, please. I think my batteries have quit. Can you guys forward it? Next, please. So we at the CPC are rebuilding a culture of life. We are doing that one generation at a time. Like I mentioned, we are building a legacy of life, of family, of faith. Because every parent should have the freedom to choose life for their child. Again, as has been alluded by the speeches that we've heard tonight. Men and women encountering parenthood and pregnancy need the vital resources of the CPC. These include the opportunity to know all of their options, including the life-affirming options. Opportunities to develop parenting skills. Very often, we have clients, sometimes very young clients who come in, have no idea what it means to be a mother or a father. That they should have the opportunity to thrive, a safe place to learn and to heal and to grow. To parent beyond what they may have experienced in their own lives. Young men coming in and saying, I want to be a father, but I have no idea what that looks like. There are men who can come alongside them and show them what that means. And to have an opportunity to have a sense of community and abundant life for themselves and for their families. Okay. So what is the CPC? We can do, there we go. So what are we doing right now? We are offering holistic healing. Oh, there we go. Oh, sorry. I'll get my hands on. We are offering help. We are very adamant about offering a hand up, not a hand out. And this is our HELP. We offer a holistic approach. Restoration for men and women and families suffering through the wounds of abortion through our Morning After program. This is facilitated by women who have been there, who made the choice to have an abortion and have now recovered from the wounds and the shame and the fear and the loss of that procedure. E for education, to equip families, mothers and fathers, grandparents, for what does it look like to go through a pregnancy, for labor and delivery, to deal with a colicky child. What do you do when they're not sleeping through the night? All of these are resources that we provide at the CPC. L is for being life-affirming, of course. We believe that everyone is created in the image and the likeness of God. So we serve all, regardless of race, religion, culture, age, income, nationality, religious affiliation, disability, or some arbitrary circumstance. And the nice thing is that all our resources are free. We offer physical and material support to anyone who comes through our doors, including pregnancy testing and ultrasounds, community resource referrals, and of course, our baby boutique. So what are we doing so how has CPC helped? Just this past year, we had 115 clients, pregnancy tests, ultrasounds, 18 babies born, hallelujah, 827 classes. Those are taken by our clients who come in and have a customized curriculum to what their needs are. It's not one size fits all. Everything is customized for the needs of that individual client, whether male or female. We had 25 group classes on things like delivery and nursing, first aid, how to use car seats. So we offer all of these free of charge in a community setting. And 650 boutique visits. This is where clients can take advantage of the boutique bucks that they have earned by attending their classes. By doing that, they can take home diapers, wipes, food, formula, clothing, cribs, car seats, blankets. And that's not just when the child is born, before the child is born. That is up until the child is 3 years old. They can continue to come back and take classes and continue to supply resources for their children, again, for free. So we are meeting the changing cultural needs through Making Life Disciples, as I mentioned, our birthing classes, Raising Highly Capable Kids, which is more geared towards the secular community, where people are learning how they can be great parents. We have our morning after class that I alluded to, and then we also have ongoing Bible studies. Okay. We can move that again. Oh, one of the things, we can go to the next slide, that's fine, because this is just going to fill again. We do have our sexual risk avoidance or willing to wait curriculum, which we have at Lenawee Christian School, and that is for 8th graders and 10th graders, so that kids know what they probably don't know about what sex is all about. Go ahead, thanks. So right now we are in the process of expanding our community availability. We are creating a pathway to parenthood. You can see the building on the left is our current location. 2 years ago, we purchased the building on your right and created the pathway to parenthood. So this is going to include our Family Resource Center and Pregnancy Wellness. We need about $200 million to complete the expansion project. This will be the Pregnancy Resource and Wellness Center for women. That will be separate from our pregnancy, because sometimes women are coming in and they find that, I don't know if I want to do the whole family thing. So we want to separate them so that people who are pursuing a family model are not invading the space of those who are under the stress of deciding if they even want to keep their child. Next, please. This is our Family Resource Center. If you didn't have a chance to come through last week when we had our open house, please reach out to Roxanne Meeks. She'd be happy to give you a tour. So this is the first floor is pretty much finished. The baby boutique is still over in the Pregnancy Wellness Center, but this is how we have finished this first floor, which was the first stage. We will then finish with the exterior. That's going to be our next push. We can do the next slide. This will be the second floor with more rooms for client care and group space for meeting. This is what the front of the first floor looks like. We did keep an arch there, so if you walk in, you're like, that doesn't look quite right. But we just wanted to provide some kind of visual imaging so people can get excited about what this space is going to look like. This is one of the meeting rooms, and we can also be doing nutrition classes in here. And we also have, go ahead. This is a reception as you walk in. To your left will be the boutique. To the right is reception, where you'll get checked in and then be picked up to meet with a facilitator. And you would have every client has the same facilitator every time. As you see there, we will have our Tree of Life. That is something you can take advantage of. If you would like to be a donor towards that, you can see me later. Go ahead. So you can sow seeds of hope by being a volunteer. You can give of your time, you can give of your talents, you can give of your financial resources. We have lots of opportunities for volunteers, as was mentioned, whether you're sorting through baby things when we switch on seasons, whether you want to learn to be a facilitator and meet with clients, if you want to be a prayer warrior, if you'd like to join us for committee work or at the board level, all of those opportunities are available to each and every one of you. Thank you. And there's one last thing I just wanted to promote, and that is we have a legacy event coming up this summer. We are having a 5K run and a 1-mile family walk. It will be a complete full-day family fun event at the at Heritage Park. So if you're a runner and you'd like to sign up, there are forms out in the lobby, and that's just going to be a wonderful opportunity for our community to know more about what the CPC is, who we are, so that we are no longer the best kept secret in Lenawee County. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. There's also material outside, and we look forward to seeing you at the Legacy event and coming by the center to learn more for yourself. Thank you. Thanks.
That was pretty impressive. In fact, it was at one of these when I heard, it was kind of right after the shutdown, and Roxanne was telling about the many things, and even CPC does Zoom for people that can't get out, and that sparked something in me to volunteer there. So there's lots of jobs. You can do as much or as little as you want. Okay, so this is always just very, very difficult, and again this year it is. So we appreciate all of you girls. The content was so good, your deliveries were good. Would you all come up here? And because there are 4 of you, we extended the, what do you call them? Prizes, all right, to 4. So everybody will be a winner. And so our 4th place is Zamira on the Euthanasia. Zamira Reyna. And right along with her, I'm sure they do lots of things together, right, is Zariah Reyna on abortion. Very good. Excellent. Very, very good. And then our 2nd place is Samantha Shane on the euthanasia. And you won't believe it, but the 2nd year in a row, Olivia Spielman won. Oh, you will believe it. You've heard her speech. So, what do we do? Some pictures?
So that means that Olivia goes on to the state contest. Do you remember when it is? May 25th, right? I think. And it's in East Lansing, so I'm sure that you will represent Lenawee County well. You were there last year, so you kind of know, yeah. So, and it is okay. You can come back and compete the 2nd year. So I think this might be the first time that I remember winning the county contest, 2nd year in a row. But you definitely, can come back. So anybody that's got a high schooler or that's watching that knows a high schooler, get them involved early so that they can be more confident in speaking. And so all 4 of you are winners because you did this, and now you know how to do it, and you know you can do it. And so that's the good thing. And yes, Lenawee Right to Life is going to give each one of you a check for participating tonight. So those are being written out right now, so we couldn't give them to you. But what we would like to do is to have some photographs. So for those of you watching, thank you very much for tuning in to the 35th Annual Right to Life Oratory Contest here in Lenawee County. Thank you very much for watching.
Before we're totally off the air, I would actually just like to take a minute to thank both Chris and Jamie for their wonderful work. I mean, I'm not sure how many years they've been doing this, but we certainly appreciate
Carol Greenwald.
We certainly appreciate their efforts, so thank you so much for that.
Jamie's the techie and organizer of the church and all the details, so I'll have to give her credit for that.
I'd also like to just take a minute to thank our audiovisual gentlemen back there, Josh and Bill, for being here tonight and doing this live as well for everyone. So we appreciate you, and as well a thank you to our judges. So if we could have a round of applause. All right. Picture, friend.
Okay. And for those of you that are here, if you want to watch, and girls, if you want to watch so that you can evaluate yourself, the recording will be on the St. John's Lutheran Church Facebook page. And so you can go back and watch. And I teach speech, and so I always tell my students it's a good thing to go back and watch yourself so you can get better the next time, whenever you give your next speech. So if you guys want to come up and take pictures, congratulate these girls, that would be a wonderful thing to do.
Up here a few minutes. Maybe somebody going to
Take a
get
slide
some,
back
and we could get.
so that we have that.
Jesus, worthy is the Lamb that was slain for us. The Son of God and man, you are high and lifted up, and all the world will praise Jesus. Worthy is the Lamb that was slain for us. The Son of God and man, you are high and lifted up, and all the world will praise your great name. Your great name. Your great name.
St. John's Lutheran Church in Adrian has been pointing people to Jesus since
The Civil War. We've been through 2 world wars, the Great Depression, the Roaring 20s, the Soaring 50s, the Boring 70s.
the horse and buggy, the horse's carriage, carry Underwood.
Carry-on luggage, coronavirus, and carry-out restaurants.
Jesus is still around, and so is St. John's Lutheran Church.
Different times, same Jesus.
Look for us on Facebook at St. John's Adrian.
Or at 3448 North Adrian Highway, across from Monahan's.
Paid for by Video Productions of Lenawee.